Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Thursday Superspeedway Xfinity Series here on Green White Checker TV. We have the first race of the playoffs underway for you here tonight. 75 laps at Talladega Superspeedway, 2.65 miles in length. We had to postpone schedule just a little bit, but we are finally here in the second season of 2024 and ready to take on the playoffs. Not much to update you for the playoffs or the point standings as they sit, as the top 12 drivers are now tied at an even 1,000 points and will battle over the next 4 weeks to try and win a championship here. In no particular order, your playoff drivers tonight will be Rick Sanchez, Patrick Groover, Eric Laurie, Brandon Briggs, Seth Groover, Dean Wilkinson, Nicholas Wing, Tom Dixon, Bob Fitzgerald, Jim Brooks, Ambrose Kniebel, and Jeremy Osborne. Now, we watched the race last week, or if you watched the race last week, we had a very great battle to the very end to settle the field of 12. And you'll see those names should be highlighted in green in the tower for the current positions once we get that up and rolling, but we are still in qualifying, so obviously we got to get to the starting grid, and then we got to get into race mode here. But we have typical 75 laps of the scheduled distance for you tonight, and a little bit of a shorter field, but it looks like most of our playoff drivers have made it out tonight and are looking forward to trying to see what they can do to take home a championship. Obviously, we saw a really good battle in the first season of 2024 where it came down to the very, very last race, the very few closing laps, and Dean Wilkinson just edged out by the 88 of Gabe Butler. Obviously, Gabe will not be here competing with us tonight, but we are thinking of him and hoping everything's going well and looking forward to getting into this battle. We've got a couple teammates to highlight that will be competing for the championship. We've got a couple guys from Roswell Motorsports. That's going to be Bob Fitzgerald. Dean Wilkinson's running with them. Tom Dixon in there as well, and I know some of those are TW Motorsports. So Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, and Tom Dixon are running with TW Motorsports. For Roswell Motorsports, it's going to be Jim Brooks and Nicholas Wing. And looks like Rick Sanchez is actually jumping down to hang out with Roswell Motorsports tonight. He's been a bit of a lone wolf without any teammates lately, but he's going to run with them tonight. Obviously, you got a couple guys in the Team Bootnocker camp. Eric Laurie, the only one competing for the championship, though, for Team Bootnocker. He's got Kevin Freese there with him tonight. And we are pretty much ready to start this grid here. And we'll pull that up for you now that you see cars taking to the grid and getting ready for action. There you see it on your screen. It is the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. He is going to be your pole sitter again for TW Motorsports. And Rick Sanchez in the number 5 Chevrolet is going to be to the outside of him. Just looks like about 6 thousandths of a second separating them in their qualifying laps. Eric Laurie of Team Bootnock, we mentioned, he's going to be in the 071. He's going to be in the inside lane of row number 2. Tom Dixon to his outside. So that's at least 4 drivers there in the playoffs in the first 4 starting spots. Then we go back to Jack Walls, our first contender in the grid tonight, not in the playoffs, but in your starting 5 positions, top 5. Jeremy Osborne of Blind Squirrel Racing. He is going to be competing for this championship here from the outside of row number 3 tonight. Bud Steele inside in that number 6 Ford Mustang. Nick Wing to his outside in the number 28 Ford Mustang. 2 teammates side by side there. And we get the Blind Squirrel Racing teammates side by side on row number 5. That's Ambrose Kniebel and Frank Ranger Jr. Just behind them, first couple cars to not qualify is going to include Kevin Freese and Patrick Groover. And we'll move on through the grid here as we get to Seth Groover and Jerry Bergeron, as well as Jim Brooks and Bob Fitzgerald on row 8, and Mike Rimkus starting shotgun on the field as we roll off of pit road. And there you see the drivers' names in green competing for that championship there. Looks like we've got most, if not all of them there tonight. A couple drivers looking to play spoiler, potentially try and grab a race win. Obviously, they're still racing for the glory of a win here in the Area 51 Thursday Night Series. So there is definitely still a lot on the line, and that's one of the unique things about motorsports, especially when it comes to quote-unquote the playoffs or trying to win the championship. Everybody gets to play every single week. There's no off weeks and there's no elimination. Once you're out of the points battle, you still show up and race, unlike they do in pretty much any other stick and ball sport. And yeah, that's the unique thing about motorsports here. We're going to see a couple drivers trying to still compete for, like we said, that glory of just getting a race win, and who knows, that can drastically change how you view the beginning or the end of your season. And still some time with 4 races left to do quite a bit, but we are coming into turn 3 right now and just about ready to go green here.
Yeah, I'm ready to go green.
Yeah,
can you hear me there, partner?
Yes, we got a copy. Matt Wagner joining us up in the booth. You ready for tonight's action?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a shorter field as usual. That's pretty normal as the season winds down. That we see that every time. So I hope these guys are putting on a heck of a show here tonight. Guys sound pretty pumped up as I talked to a few drivers before the race, but we're ready to go green. I hear the motors. Here we go.
Coming through the tri-oval, getting ready to get to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway. 75 laps again, the scheduled distance at Talladega tonight. We saw a completely clean and green race last week. We'll have to wait and see what happens this week, as now everybody with their name highlighted in green again is going to be competing for that championship. Those are your playoff drivers, eligible to win the championship here in just 4 races to close out the second 2024 season here. 8 weeks is not a lot of time to get yourself into position to be in one of these spots. And then 4 races is not a lot of time to win that championship there, Matt.
No, it's not enough. Like I said, these guys, it's all about execution. You got to stay consistent. Pretty much get the best finish possible. That's pretty much my main focus would probably be in the first 8 races. But when you haven't won a race, but fortunately I did win a race Thursday, which I'm pretty grateful for.
Oh, we got a wreck in the backstretch. The 41, the 071 playoff drivers involved. Eric Laurie sliding through the grass. A little bit of damage in the rear end.
Jack Walls is stopped over here going to exit turn 3.
Yep. Looks like that's probably enough to have some motor damage for sure.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to take the tow back to the pit lane.
Yeah, unfortunate for him.
Man, that was early, but let's
wow.
See if we can get a good view of that.
I have no idea. Replay. I have to look at the replay.
Yeah, we'll have to rewind that just a little bit here and see if we can understand kind of where that started. Looked like, it was almost right behind the leaders there.
Yeah.
We'll try to grab a better camera angle of it, and we'll look in the outside lane. We'll focus on the 41 here. And you see they're just trying to go 3 wide.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get down and not quite the hole there. Jack Walls, he's going to go for a wild ride. You see the 071 and the 41 kind of colliding in the outside lane, and then there's the impact on the inside wall for the 83.
I feel bad for Jack there.
Yeah, plenty damage. Mike Rimkus gets involved late.
There's the hood.
Yep. It looks like pretty much everybody else is okay. So there's going to be a couple, probably 4 fast repairs for those 4 involved. You see Jerry Bergeron coming on the screen, able to check up in time. And we'll jump back live. That was definitely early on.
Yeah, that was Yeah, that was a hole that was pretty much not there. Unfortunately for Jeremy Osborne, did he tow back to the pits? If I'm correct, I don't have to. No, he drove back. Okay,
Yeah, Jack Walls was the only one who towed there.
okay. Yeah, I think Jeremy's gonna go a lap down. Yes, he is. Unfortunate.
So you see the live pit stops on your screen. 5 of Rick Sanchez comes out first. Dean Wilkinson, Tom Dixon, Ambrose Kniebel, and Bud Steele, your top 5. Then it's Bob Fitzgerald. And looks like Nick Wing. Eric Laurie still sitting in his spot, so Jim Brooks will be in 8th as they roll off. And I think a lot of other people just taking maybe some damage. Yeah, okay, there's a lot more there that we might not have seen. It looks like Patrick Groover and Seth Groover actually got involved a little bit here. Let's actually see if we can go back and try to see if we can understand why they might be sitting on pit road here. We'll try and take it back to the caution. And you can see them in the outside lane here. We'll focus on this a little bit more and see what we missed. But you see there's another angle, that 3 wide action, just not quite enough room there. The 071, the 83, obviously we saw the wild ride the 83 took. The 28, and wow, the 25 of Kevin Freese just barely squeaks through that one. Honestly,
he does have a little bit of rear end damage. I'm looking on the back of Kevin's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you see it here. There, a little bit of a hit from the 32. And a lot of that contact looked like it happened well after the fact that we didn't notice.
Yeah.
And then the 54, I'm not quite sure. That's weird. The 54 and the 32 spent about 1:10 on pit road. And it didn't look like there was much damage there at all.
Yeah.
It looks like Kevin Freese is actually still on pit road. And I just don't quite understand how to explain that. But we'll jump back live at least, and at least make sense of where we're at. Ambrose Kniebel's going to stay out. The only one not pitting this time by Rick Sanchez, Dean Wilkinson, and the whole field pretty much coming back down for extra fuel. Mike Rimkus, Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, Frank Ranger Jr., all spending more than a minute on pit road. Kevin Freese spending about 2 minutes. And he looks like tail end of the lead lap. And then Jeremy Osborne is going to be 1 lap down. Looks like he actually repaired about 1:35. So Jeremy Osborne maybe not taking that fast repair just yet.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed Jack Walls had to. But he thankfully had his fast repair ready to go. And his only time in the pits was him getting back to the pits. So thankfully for him, sometimes you can get kind of trapped if your fast repair is not checked and you tow back to the pits. You're waiting 30 minutes for an engine change, and yeah, that doesn't work out too well.
That's terrible. Fortunate for him, he's only 1 lap down. That's the only good news for Jack there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have been a lot worse. Jeremy's could have. I don't know if he had a meatball or anything, but he's only scored 1 lap down. Some of these other drivers could have ended, 1 or even more laps down. So it's, man, just so early. All right, here we go. A reset after, I think, we're on lap 4 now. We're going to lap 5 now. About 70 to go here.
Yep.
Hopefully these guys will get set up, kind of re-rack things, and hopefully get that scary moment out of the way, and hopefully we'll go from here on out. Hopefully green.
Hopefully. And we're going to reset here, though, and it will be Ambrose Kniebel and Kevin Freese side by side, Frank Ranger Jr., and you see all the cars starting single file behind the field because they came down twice for fuel. So the only 2x2 is the 04 and the 25 as everyone gets up to speed here. We'll see if anybody joins that early lane here, or that second lane here early on, but it is pretty well spread out. from nose to tail. Kevin Freese with a good push to the back of the 04 of Blind Squirrel Racing. That's Blind Squirrel Racing's Ambrose Kniebel. Kevin Freese not in the playoffs tonight, but again, still looking for another race win here in Area 51. I know there's a few things going on in the chat. We'll definitely bring those up. I managed to mess up and try to do something with the chat and then ask me to sign back in. So Gael, if you're watching, please send me the login to get back into our YouTube channel because I don't remember it and answer my message. But when we get that back up, we'll definitely chime back in. It sounds like we're talking to Carl Engel a little bit after sounds like a pretty extensive surgery. So hope you're back in the car soon, buddy, and resting up and healing well. But I know Gael's also off tonight with a bit of a shoulder injury, so hoping you guys are all resting up and back with us very, very soon. A little bit of three-wide action there. The 28 and teammate, the 6, trying to get back up to the front of the field. Eric Lorry's going to tag along with them. But still not in the playoff race, but his teammate Nick Wing is, and they are trying to make their way up to the front as Kevin Freese and Frank Ranger Jr. are currently pacing the field at about 190 miles an hour. Bud Steele with a big push to the 28. They both get clear heading into turn number 2. Sorry, 3. I can't count. Things have seemed to settle down just a little bit. Thankfully, with the issue, there aren't too many that are out of it early, as we've only got 3 cars 1 lap down, and it does not look like anybody is off the pace other than, looks like Jerry Bergeron. Not sure if that was a penalty, but he has lost the draft here, Matt.
Yeah, he had a little apparently he does need to inform the admins. That's more like an admin issue. So usually some of these guys who do have like passing on the yellow under the caution flag, they will alert the admins and they will clear it accordingly, and they would have to start in the back. So he didn't inform the admins. He couldn't. Kevin couldn't adjust it, and it's so unfortunate for him. But it is what it is, there, brother.
Other than that, everybody else in this pack now led by the 28 of Nick Wing, Kevin Freese, continuing to push our leader. In the outside lane, it's Jack Walls now getting the push from Bud Steele. And pretty much single file there throughout the field. You actually see Jack Walls there with that effort to get to the front.
Yeah,
he's earned his lap back the hard way.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I was getting bumped by Bud Steele. Excuse me. That's pretty much what you're going to need. But look, we have gone 3 wide here.
'83 ducks down, 6 still in the middle of the 071, but it's the 32, and looks like the 55 not quite clear. The 32 is going to come down a lane, but the 55 is going to pick up the 79 of Mike Rimkus. 3 wide. And I can't tell if this is the early stages of the day or the later stages of the day.
me too. I was
is the sun like coming up or coming down? But I wanted to almost say as the sun rises or sets. I'm not sure. So as the sun does something early or does something late, we'll just leave it at that. But you see the shadows cast onto the track. I would assume sun coming up because the sun goes down here and there's no lights. And even in the sim world, there's at least true to the real track. There are no lights here, Bob, at Talladega Superspeedway, even in the virtual world.
We would love to have lights here at Talladega. You know how much it would
be
cost
cool
to put lights here at Talladega?
Yeah, it
a lot of money.
Well, in real life, yes. In the virtual world, not much probably at all. I'm sure iRacing spends plenty on their development team, but yeah, it's. I'm assuming it's coming up, because if it wasn't, then we probably wouldn't have much more daylight to race here. But the 83 has found his way to the inside lane there, now covering the 28. He is leading the field again. He is the last car on the lead lap at the moment. If he can stay ahead of the leaders and a caution were to come out, that green and yellow 41 machine of Jeremy Osborne is the lucky dog. And then we'll get basically 2 cars back on the lead lap, and we'll just have one lap down. But who knows, there's the 071's going to come to the middle lane there as he got the push from Kevin Freese and then said, "Thank you, teammate. I'm going to go all the way to the front and slide across."
Between 83 and 071? Oh,
filled the hole.
Yeah, I know. That kind of scares me every time they do them quick moves to the bottom. That was a little slow, and I was kind of like holding my breath there in case something would have happened there. But
yeah.
Other than that, the 071 has taken the lead, but all importantly, that puts the 83 a lap down. I'm sure Jack is pretty much not a fan of that. He's probably wanting the lead back.
Yeah, Kevin Freese doing what he can to get his teammate up into position there to try and control this race. Obviously not a lot of Team Bootnaka Esports drivers here tonight, but still working together as a team as usual with the 071 in the playoffs there. And we'll call it out one more time. Gael, if you're there, could you please answer my message so I can log back into our YouTube chat and read all the fun that you guys are having in the chat. Keep trying to get his attention, but I can't quite yet. So, I know, like I said, a lot of activity in the chat, and we'll read through it and bring it up in a minute once I can get back to it. But appreciate everybody watching along from home tonight, and we had a big one a little bit early on. We're about 10 laps into this next run of green flag action, and about 10 more laps, probably start seeing what would be the first set of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I think he said hello to you. He's having a nice little chat with Carl Engel. Carl, it's good to see you there, buddy. And let's see who else is there. I can't really see. Oh, Jamie there. Yeah, Jamie not there. Rooting on their Bud Steele there. Rick Rat. I think that must be Rick Sanchez.
Could be, yeah.
Guy up there, you better answer my broadcast partner.
I think he's already messaging me back. But while we see the action here, 2 by 2 for 3 rows deep, why don't we take a quick side-by-side and, unlike last week, not forget about our wonderful new sponsor, Sensi.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
Side by side we stay. Through the side-by-side commercial as more cars are in the mix here. 25 jumping to the bottom in front of the 32 of Seth Groover, as Patrick Groover leads the outside lane. 54-55 lined up. 25-32 lined up on the inside lane. And everybody has caught this pack. Now Jerry Bergeron down 2 laps as he goes another lap down after he is collected by the field. Obviously, he was lost the draft and unfortunately had to lose another lap, so he's going to have to ride around for 2 laps down for a little while, at least until get a couple more cars back on the lead lap if we are able to. But for now, it is the 54 of Patrick Groover. Saw him race his way into the playoffs last week. Seth was safe. Patrick had to race his way in, and he not only did that, but he made up 3 positions, 3 or 4 actually, to leapfrog a few contenders and make his way solidly into the playoffs, starting from, I think it was actually the 10th position. So he came into the night 14th place, moved up 4, up to 10th. And here he is competing tonight for the first race of the playoffs and the championship.
I tell you, he's been really quiet in the whole entire season. It's probably that 55 of Dean Wilkins. He's got a totally different strategy. Like, he'll go up and he wants to lead a collapse and he'll just drop to the back. He'll have a hard time trying to get back toward the end of the front. He's kind of like me. He'd like stay back, just kind of be cool, calm, and collected, and just wait to pounce at the end. But this early point on, you're going to have to make a pretty much a statement. If you want to win this championship, you're going to have to make some noise. And I think that's what Dean Wilkinson is trying to do here.
Yeah, so far definitely been up towards the front for the early stages of this race. A couple guys laying back in the back. Amber Skinny, Bob Fitzgerald, Jim Brooks, and Tom Dixon just kind of hanging around, single file action. Obviously the Groover brothers, Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Rick Sanchez, Nick Wing, all kind of dicing up towards the front of the pack here. As we're probably about 4 or 5 laps away from what would be the first set of green flag pit stops. We all pit last on lap 4 or 3, depending on if you came down once or twice during the caution that came out, I think, on lap 2 there. So we're getting close to needing some fuel in these Xfinity Series race cars.
Yep. It's all about execution. I keep praising every week, Homer. These guys, they have to execute on pit road. 4 tire stops is pretty much going to end your day. I find out here at Talladega, no tires. I've actually done a full session with no tires here before. It's actually worked out really well. It all depends on the track conditions, etc. And it's maybe a little bit too hot, So I think the weather here, where we're here at 70 degrees, pretty nice.
Actually, we can bring up the pre-race race info. Yeah, so the track or the air temperature is 70 degrees, 10% relative humidity. It's cloudy, and we've got 1 mile per hour of wind here tonight. So pretty nice. Honestly, you see the track temperature there is 81 degrees Fahrenheit. That's actually fairly cool.
Yeah, that's perfect for these guys.
Yeah, it definitely helps settle the car down a little bit. A fair amount of grip, which you really don't think you need as far as the Super Speedway racing goes. And obviously Talladega doesn't wear out too much, but it will make a little bit of a difference, especially, who knows, maybe with that, some guys may not honestly take tires at all through this entire race. We've seen a lot of guys just taking fuel only in the first couple pit stops. So some people may not even pit at all for tires in these 75 laps.
Yeah, so maybe here in the next couple of laps here, as I predict.
Yeah, should be getting pretty close to that.
Hello, Karen. It's good to see you. Your boys are running up front, doing quite well, running, and Patrick and Seth is holding the first and the third spot, doing really well. Nah.
So far, so good for them. We'll see if anybody's going to be takers on pit road this time. Doesn't look like it.
No.
And I will shout out Gaia one more time. Thank you for helping me figure out the login. It was actually my own login.
Uh-oh.
He at least helped me figure that out. So anyway, we've got the chat. I can see the chat again without having to pull up another window. So yes, definitely, Carl, looking forward to having you back in the sim seat, and hope everything goes well. Obviously, Gail, appreciate you chiming in, even in your, I guess, injury night off with a little bit of a shoulder issue. Hopefully that gets figured out and gets better for you. And got Belva Feltz and Karen Groover, some of our regulars chiming in. So thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Looking to see when these guys are going to take their first pit stop, and here they come. Kevin Freese is going to lead the charge. 55, the 071, the 83, Mike Rimkus, and the 79 are all in this time by. And does everybody get down to speed? It looks like it. Tom Dixon, Bob Fitzgerald.
I was trying to see who stayed out here. I'll get my cam right. Okay.
We got Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, Bud Steele, Rick Sanchez, Nick Wing, top 5. A little bit of a breakaway back to Frank Ranger Jr. Then they pick up the 41 of Jeremy Osborne. And further on back is Jim Brooks. Lap car of Jerry Bergeron.
Yeah, here they come too.
As more come down. Groover brothers. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there for the 32 in front of the 6. They make big contact.
Uh-oh.
And they're locked up in front of the field. Jerry Bergeron has to slam on the brakes. Everybody else able to get on through. That is going to be... Man, I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe some form of penalty for either the 6 or the 32. I'm not entirely sure. Depends on where they landed on the commitment cone. Man, that was a hectic pit entry there.
That was pretty scary. Yeah. I wonder if anybody got a penalty off of that.
It looks like... Well, we'll see. Once it gets over 15 seconds, it does look like Seth Groover has a penalty, and it looks like Bud Steele also has probably an unsafe pit entry penalty for the 6 and the 32. Rick Sanchez gets out first. Patrick Groover gets out second. Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese... actually, Dean Wilkinson leading the charge for the cars that already pit. So the 55, the 25, the 071 are going to be ahead of this field. Catching them are going to be the 5 and the 54. The 83 also has a head of steam to get down the backstretch, and we'll see. I think most of what you see on the screen there should be able to catch back up. We'll try to sort this out here as we continue on, but it is looking like it's going to be a pretty decent breakaway for the 55, the 25, and the 071. They've got 3 cars. They're now 2.3 seconds ahead of Rick Sanchez, and that number is growing. But Patrick Groover has finally caught up to the back of Rick Sanchez and is trying to give him a push to get them back up to speed. Next time we'll have to see back around where the numbers actually line up, but there is... This second pack, so the 83 of Jack Walls is that lap down car, but the 5 of Rick Sanchez and the 54 of Patrick Groover there are lined up. We'll go back to Tom Dixon. They are losing time to Patrick Groover in the group ahead of them and may not have a chance to catch up without more help, as Nick Wing and Jim Brooks are slowly closing the gap up to them. Bob Fitzgerald has found this pack further on back. He is about 7.5 seconds off the tail end of Jim Brooks. And he's got Ambrose Kniebel and Frank Ranger Jr. and the lap cars of Jeremy Osborne and Jerry Bergeron working together here. And then looks like Mike Rimkus actually had to come back down and serve a penalty, so he's doing that now. And then obviously, Seth Groover here is now finding himself by himself. And that's pretty much... through the field.
Wow, I think we slipped into 3x3x3. My goodness.
Yes, we're waiting to see. It looks like there's a 3-second gap between Dean Wilkinson and Rick Sanchez. Last time by, Rick Sanchez's group was half a second slower a lap than Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, and the 071 of Eric Laurie. Now we'll wait and see this time by if that gap continues to grow or not. But you see 3.2 Rick Sanchez off the leader on the tower there. And the last time by was a 50.09 for Dean Wilkinson, a 50.26 for Rick Sanchez. So this group of three is pulling away from the rest of the top five and the rest of the field.
Wow. And there's one thing I'm looking at between the first three and the second three. If you go and focus on our leadership, look how tightly packed they are. Look at them. One closely near each other.
Yeah, the 25 giving a really good push you see there through the tri-oval, and the 071 is not far behind.
No, not at all. Now, if you focus on Rick Sanchez,
he's giving a good push to the 83, but unfortunately doesn't have a lot of help. But it looks like Patrick Groover went back to pick up his brother of Seth Groover to help him not have to fall further on down the field. So once these guys catch back up and are a group of four, we're going to wait and see if that gap starts to close, because 4 cars definitely makes it a little bit easier. Usually we say it's got to be at least a minimum of 3 cars, but more cars, obviously, the merrier. Once you get to a certain point, you're going to have enough that it doesn't necessarily matter. But 4 cars can potentially be better than 3, and you see how organized these guys are going to get compared to our leaders.
I do apologize for that. My cat decided to have a jump on my microphone and unplug it from the main PC. That's just great.
I heard you briefly get interrupted. I was like, I might need to step in here. Not sure what's going on, but yeah.
That was the cat. I do it. She's one in a million, man. But as I focus, but you said before, they are now, since they have 4 on there. Now everything should be a little bit more tightly packed. Now we'll take a look at the lap times here. Probably the next few laps. They'll probably more likely catch those guys.
Yeah, we'll see. I know Belva Feltz is a fan of the 5, but she's thinking that they're not going to be able to catch the 3 up front.
Really? Don't give your doubts up.
Oh, I know she's hoping it's not true, but yeah, it was last time by was a 50.16 for Dean Wilkinson and a 50.35 for Patrick Groover.
Well,
yep.
Now count chickens where they hatch.
Yep, there's a difference there for sure. I mean, this pack of 3, I mean, we have definitely said it before. I mean, Kevin Freese has been touted as one of, obviously, an admin here that we appreciate and respect.
Oh, we got a wreck!
Oh, where is the wreck? We got to find it. No caution. Still green flag.
Jack Walls.
Let's see if we can find him here. I'm having, oh, there we go. Jack Walls. Okay. So Jack Walls was being pushed by the 54 of Patrick Groover. So assuming that there could have been something there trying to get up to the front of the pack. And that is going to further delay the progress of the 54 and the 5 and the 32. And Jack Walls is going to come down pit road. You can see that car kind of crab walking sideways almost. That is going to be a lot of damage for that 83.
Yeah. One. Yeah, that's
only thing that'll hurt is fortunately just the
yeah.
pride, as he is not locked into the playoffs, but nonetheless, still a frustrating way to end a night.
Yeah, it is.
So now you see the gap growing for the 54, 4.5 and growing seconds behind our leader Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, and Eric Laurie. And these 3 got out of pit lane very organized, very well together. And obviously that second pack had some of the miscues between the 32 and the 6 getting tangled up there and getting those penalties and kind of splitting that group, because the 32 and the 6 were kind of towards the front. Definitely in the first half of that group, that pit, and it looks like pretty much. I mean, it didn't look like a lot of people were able to get too organized off of pit road after that happened, but Patrick Groover still has the help of the 5 of Rick Sanchez. Honestly, for what they are or where they are, not too bad of a position for them still points-wise tonight. So I wouldn't be too upset. I mean, I would love if I were them to be able to get back up and try to push to a win. But position-wise, it's not the worst place to be, especially because they are on such an island. They are running times faster than the group behind them, which is led by Tom Dixon being pushed by Jim Brooks, Nick Wing as well. And you see there's that difference that we mentioned there, the 5 all over, or the 54 all over the back of the 5 trying to make progress there. This group of 3 trying to make their progress as well. Another 5.5 seconds back is this group led by Ambrose Kniebel. The lap cars, the 41 and the 1. The 08 and the 17 are on the lead lap in there in this group, and that takes us all the way through 11th. We'll try to find Bud Steele. Unfortunately, no drafting partners after getting back out on track. He actually came down, and it looks like pit again, maybe? Not entirely sure, because his pit time is different from the penalty time, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is, but Jeremy Osborne's back here. Seth Groover's with his brother. Jared Bergeron, we've already mentioned, is in this 4th group in the pack, and then we're actually showing that Mike Rimkus and Jack Walls have, it looks like, retired for the night. So we'll get back up to your leaders, and we'll try to cycle through this as much as we can and pay attention as much as we can to all of it. But these guys right now are going to do everything they can to try and stay organized and hope for the rest of the field to do the same.
Man, oh man, this race is really, really spread out. Does somebody got a roll pad to throw out on the track here? Hence Robbie Gordon.
Yeah,
you remember that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yes, actually, the roll bar padding. Yeah. Well, why don't, since we screwed it up last week and we didn't run it, but maybe we'll give them a little extra airtime for our wonderful sponsor, Sensi. And while we wait, we've got about another 7 to 9 laps before our next, what would be the second green flag pit cycle here. We'll do another quick side-by-side from, again, sponsor Sensi.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
And again, we thank our wonderful sponsor, Sensi, there. You can go back and obviously there's a QR code on the screen there during the commercial break. And that is a link to Caitlin Decker's page. She is a representative of Sensi and If you use that link, you can support her, and obviously without her, we would not have Sensi on board and as a sponsor, and also sponsors the number 48 of Ryan Decker as well every single week here at Area 51. So by all means, please head on over to your fragrance destination, Sensi, and support Caitlin while you're at it, and tell her thanks for bringing them to the league and helping us out here with the league and the broadcast. So
Yep.
one thing we saw over commercial break, we were watching the lap times. There was a lap where Rick Sanchez and Patrick Groover ran a couple tenths faster than our leaders. As you see, the 32 is able to catch back up. And I'm trying to see... Yeah, so the 32 had a little bit of damage, but was able to catch back up to this pack here. Now it's a pack of 4. They're segmented again, with they're just not quite, either not as organized, or the 32 has enough damage that he can't get up there and push. I also wouldn't be surprised. I think Patrick Groover did what he needed to do to get Bud Steele into this pack, so that Bud Steele wasn't just a sinker.
Yeah.
So some of that is also the sportsmanship that we have continued to see week in,
Yes.
week out from both of the Groover brothers. Mama Groover should be very proud of the two boys she raised there for what they've done. Obviously, they just did a big help to Bud Steele to bring him back into this pack, and we'll see if they can make some progress now. They're about 10 seconds behind our leader of Dean Wilkinson, but now it's 4 cars to the 3 up at the front of the pack. Last time by, Dean Wilkinson was almost a second faster, but we'll see with a full lap what a difference makes.
Yes. Now with these 4 cars, will we see a time difference? I'm kind of hoping it does. I'm sitting here crossing my fingers here. We probably won't see it. Probably, but not this lap. Probably the next one.
And that last time by, almost dead even between Rick Sanchez and Dean Wilkinson, the respective leaders of the first and second packs. So they are no longer draining time or losing time to the leaders. You can see actually Rick Sanchez hovering right around 10 seconds behind the leader, and that number just barely creeping forward. So they at least have some help.
Yeah. But you got to think of it like this: of Rick being in the playoffs. I know he's about 10 seconds back. You got to think about a good finishing position. That's all I still think that's all that's in Rick's mind right now. Don't care about the win right now. Stay in the highest finishing position possible. But that time by, once again, they're Boomer at almost the exact same time they ran.
Yeah, about a half of a tenth advantage to our leaders, but you see staying pretty steady at that 10.03 for Rick Sanchez behind Dean Wilkinson. Brandon Briggs is saying that probably Seth needs to take one for the team and let Patrick wreck him so that his brother can get back up to the front.
No, you know, I'm all for sportsmanship. I'm all for the yellow right now. That's just me as a driver, as a fan, to bring them all back together. But at the same time, you really don't want to impede the progress that these guys have made. And it wouldn't be fair to Dean or Kevin or Eric up there to have earned their 9 or 10 second lead there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that last time by Boomer, Rick Sanchez about 2/10 faster than our leaders are pitting.
He's gonna be a lot faster this lap as the 55 leads 25 and the 071 in. This guy's gonna be on a similar strategy from here on out as Rick Sanchez is actually gonna take the lead, and he's gonna grab a lap lead here with Patrick Groover, Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Kevin Friesen in their boxes. Now, these guys really don't need to hustle. They had a 10-second lead, which is quite a bit to play with, as they're going to try and get organized off of pit road here together. And they come off pretty cleanly. Obviously, the 071 and the 25 very well linked up. And the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel in this pack have continued to make progress. The 04 and the 41 teammates, they're working together both in the playoffs, trying to make something happen here. And looks like we got Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald in this time as well from the 10th and the 11th positions. Oh, and we see, yep, Rick Sanchez, Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, Bud Steele, their group coming in this time by. Pretty clean for them. And
pretty clean. Better interest this time. 32 this time. The 5 and the 6 and the 54 here. Now, we'll wait and see if these guys do come out pretty good, solid together. If they can come out pretty good, tight together, they may cut that lead in half. But we'll see if the 32 actually takes the fast repair. Yes, he does. And that will probably really boost everything here.
Next
I think
group
they came out pretty good.
Yeah, next group is in.
Yeah, they came out really good. So
next group is in Ambrose Kniebel, Frank Ranger, and Jim Brooks as well. So that's going to leave Nick Wing out here by themselves. And you see the 55, the 25, the 071 pretty well organized. The 5, the 6, and the 54, as you said, Matt, with the 32 leading there, very well organized. And the 32 is going to jump on to the back of that pack, as I believe he still has a little bit of damage. May have taken the fast repair actually there. Like you said, yeah, you did say that. Sorry, Matt. And
you're good.
That'll help him get this group, at least try to get them back up front. Now it's only 8.5 seconds back from Dean Wilkinson to Rick Sanchez. And that's grown just a little bit, but not by much. And then Nick Wing, very lonely on pit road without a dance partner right now. So 8.8 seconds to Rick Sanchez. So if that nets out as they get up to speed, that's about a second gain over our leaders through that pit cycle. Which, I mean, really almost exclusively comes down to their pit in and pit out, because their time in the pit stall and the time on pit road were nearly identical. So 9.28 seconds, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, I am so interested to see what kind of lap times they're running now. If these guys do catch, I applaud them like 110%. It's all teamwork, and some of these guys really work together. It's good.
Yeah, that makes a big difference for sure. The 5 and the 6 are pushing together. 54-32 in this pack, so that pack of 4. So we'll see. Looks like that last time by, Dean Wilkinson ran a 50 flat. Rick Sanchez a 50-31. And they're going to swap. The 54 is now going to push the 5 and see what they can do. As the 6 might have been getting a little hot behind 5 there. It's the 54 trying to peek that nose out just a little bit there for that cooling, which makes such a huge difference in these cars.
Right. So I really thought the 5 would go to the back. Wouldn't that be a little bit quicker if the leader would slide to the back?
It could be. It depends on how you want to do it.
Yeah. And then the 4th place guy would catch the leader and push them. That's how we use it.
Yeah.
Oh, running out of laps, Boomer.
Yeah.
Running out of laps.
The ticker shows we are now counting down.
I think these guys may have to pit again. Am I right on that?
Yeah, everyone pit last on lap 45, 46, or 47. And if you go 20 is very conservative, but 22 is probably a max. So if you go another 20 laps, that'll be about 67. So I don't see these guys saving an extra 20 laps of fuel. It's never been done. So one more pit stop to the end here, but they've got about a 30 lap window. Actually, less than a 30 lap window, and 22 lap fuel window. So they have a couple laps to play with here, as far as if they want to come early, if they want to go late. I think most of these guys are going to try and run it out as late as they can. Obviously, if you run it out late and something happens, then you're in a better position if you come down early. because obviously you could get trapped a lap down. Now, granted, if the 55, the 25, and the 071 wanted to try that strategy, I don't think they would be hurting in any way, shape, or form because of the 9-second lead that they have. But obviously, Rick and Patrick are trying to make up as much ground as they possibly can, and they would leapfrog for trap position our leaders, and I think even Jim Brooks, Tom Dixon, Bob Fitzgerald, Ambrose Kniebel would definitely leapfrog them as well. So I think the strategy is going to be to stay out as long as possible, but I don't know if you think any differently, Matt.
No, it's like I said, the way Patrick and Rick and all them, they made their time on pit road. So either you can stay out. It's so lenient what you can do. When these guys were just going to come in for fuel only. Those guys were the best coming on and off the pit road. So we'll have to wait and see if Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, and Eric Laurie can, if they execute their pit stop and they come out all straight together, I can say it's pretty much a game over for pretty much for the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, we saw. I mean, it really was just that chaos that we saw from the 32 and the 6, unfortunately, in that first set of green flag pit stops, and that really made a huge difference. And then, I mean, execution-wise, the 55, 25, and the 071 did everything that they needed to do. They ran out to a lead and just kept continuing to grow it. Now, obviously, it's shrinking a little bit as Rick Sanchez is making some progress there, but, I mean, he's gaining a tenth a lap. And there's only 22 laps to go, and there's 87 tenths that he needs to make back up, and just the time's not there, especially. But who knows? We could see them jump a little bit from the the next, if it were a green flag pit cycle. But that's a lot of time, unless we see a mistake from the 55, the 25, the 071. I don't think the 5 and 54 are going to have any chance to catch up. They'll get, they could get to within maybe 5 seconds if they really push, but I don't see them catching all the way back up.
Yeah, right now the time has, as we speak, the time has shrunk since they only managed to cut off about 4 tenths on track. So running out of laps, Boomer, but at this certain pace, they'll be there, but not close enough.
Yeah, we've always said you got to be within about a second of the car ahead of you, especially if it's single file. If it's double file ahead of you, maybe 1.5 seconds, and if it's 3 wide, probably a little more than that even. But you got to be within at least a second before the effects of the draft help. And you know what? Who knows? Rick Sanchez, Patrick River might have been listening to me because they picked it up about 4 tenths that last lap. So
yeah, they're catching on the draft of the 17 car.
Yeah,
which is going to this is going to boost their time quite even more now.
Yeah,
we might see about 7.5 seconds when they cross start finish line now. So, Boomer, this may be quite interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, they're doing everything that they can. That is going to be 2 solid laps at some good pace here. We'll see that time by. It is a 49.73. Actually, Bud Steele runs the fastest lap of the race, a 49.72. So that's a 49.73 to Dean Wilkinson's 50.20. So that is about 45.45 seconds, or 4.5 tenths of a second gained in that last lap. Now, they're not going to be able to do that every lap, but if they could start taking chunks like that, there's a possibility there.
Yeah, it is a great possibility, but I don't know if that was just because of Frank Ranger Jr. there, or we'll find out here on this lap here.
We'll see this time.
This will be the tall tale. Yeah, this will be the tall tale here.
So Dean Wilkinson just crosses the stripe at a 50.13, 50.13. The 5 crosses the stripe at a 49.88. They are really pushing here.
Yeah.
And it's now down to 7.5 seconds. Yeah, this is make it or break it. The 54 is pretty much at a point where if they really want to catch up, he's going to have to be almost to the point of overheating that motor. Obviously, I mean, like we said, this is still a really good opportunity for the 5 and the 54. So they're gonna, obviously want to be smart about it. But if you can gain what you can gain and still make it back, I mean, a couple spots is gonna make a big difference. I mean, you see, other than Kevin Freese, the top 9 are all playoff drivers. But that difference from Dean Wilkinson to Jim Brooks is going to be a ton of points, especially later on. And obviously, Jeremy Osborne and Seth Groover, as well as Nick Wing, not having the nights that they were hoping for. But, it's still a fairly short field. But when there are this short of fields, you really can't make up a ton of ground. So you have to be, in a good position. So I don't blame the 5 or the 54 trying to do everything they can to get what they can. Because we're all racers. We're all race fans, everyone watching. You want to do as best as you can in every situation on the racetrack at any time, right, Matt?
Yeah, no doubt, 100%. A lot of practice and a lot of time is put into it. I know Kevin, Eric, and Gabe. I know they run a lot of leagues together, so they have plenty of. Oh, looks like the leaders are coming in there, Boomer.
Alrighty, Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, Eric Laurie are in this time. We just missed it, but looks like they all got down to pit road speeds clean. And we'll see the 5, the 54, the 32 continuing to stay out on track. And we'll see if these guys answer the call or if they're going to continue to run this out. Now we're going to see...
I think they might run it out. I think Rick might want to lead a lap here just for a bonus point here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he did or not.
So keep an eye on the leaderboard. We're not going to show it just in case these guys do pit. But you actually see Kevin Freese and Eric Laurie and Dean Wilkinson. They're coming out ahead of Tom Dixon. And the 5 is not going to pit this time by. So we'll jump back here and see if we can see. There's about 6 seconds back to Tom Dixon's group. Now they have a full head of steam and 6 cars rolling here down the backstretch. So they should be able to catch as, looks like Frank Ranger Jr. is going to come in by himself there. So now, obviously the 25 and the 55 are trying to get back up to speed as fast as they possibly can. But track position-wise, they're in good shape. You cannot see the guys behind them just yet. So I think they'll actually be pretty clearing away to stay in the top 5 here, even after pitting there.
Right. Now the question is, how much time can they gain on them before they have to pit?
Yeah.
If you continue to gain time, I wouldn't even pit. I would just keep going. You got to keep your magic going until you have to pit.
Yeah, so we saw they lost about 40 seconds or so, about 42 seconds, let's say. No, it was about 40 seconds, yeah. So Dean Wilkinson lost about 40 seconds to Rick Sanchez. So it's 32 right now, 31.7, 31.8. Yeah, let's see. That number seems to be growing, so the 5 and the 54 are still pushing with everything that they got. Now, that aggression level is going to have to be tempered when they come down pit road to make sure that they can still get down to pit road speeds and be ready to execute that final pit stop.
Execution is everything.
Always.
No, it looks like they're going to continue to stay out here. Like I said, I don't blame them one bit. You got to do what you got to do.
All right, so as we get back up to speed, Rick Sanchez runs a 49.97 to Dean Wilkinson's 50.11, so that's about a tenth and a half faster for our leaders. Now, if you remember, the 32 of Seth Groover went a lap down. He's actually 2 laps down behind our leader at the moment. And the 17 of Frank Ranger Jr. is going to go 3 laps down there. The 6 of Bud Steele. So the 32 and the 6 are really in this position because of the contact that they made as they got a little squirrely coming in for their first green flag pit stop. And other than the big one that really came out early, that's kind of the only incident that we've seen since then. Bud Steele's still holding on to a top 10, which is not a bad night for him outside of the playoffs, so not really worried about that points battle. we come back to Dean Wilkinson. Obviously, this group has already pit. They're a little bit slower than the leaders, but they don't care too much because they still had about a 7-second lead over the guys that have not pit, Rick Sanchez and Patrick Groover. So assuming that stays fairly constant, as you see that gap is just barely creeping forward, I think that they'd still have enough to be ahead of the 5 and the 54, unless the 5 and the 54 pull off an absolutely miraculous in-lap and out-lap. But 55, 25, 071 are still lined up and in control. Tom Dixon's about 8 seconds off in this pack here. Bob Fitzgerald, Ambrose Kniebel, Jim Brooks are the lead lap cars. The 41 of Jeremy Osborne, involved in the first yellow, is in this pack, and the 1 of Jerry Bergeron as well. Going back through, Bud Steele is obviously up in the front there. Jeremy Osborne's in this group. Seth Groover's in the front group with his brother. Jerry Bergeron's in this group. Frank Ranger Jr. is by himself. And then Nick Wing, Mike Rimkus, and Jack Wells have all retired. So that is your through the field. And 11 laps to go. Another 1/10 of a second advantage for Rick Sanchez to Dean Wilkinson that last time by, and we'll see what it is this time by. It's a 50.01. And we'll have to wait a minute for Dean Wilkinson to get back around to see what they ran, but we're getting inside of 10 laps to go here, Matt.
Yeah, and right now it's all going to be about execution off pit road. See how much time was gained or lost coming off pit road. I'm just quite interested to see.
Yeah, we are both. Still curious to see when these guys are going to pit and how much longer they're going to go. I mean, we know that they can go to about lap 69, 70 almost.
Right.
Maybe not for Rick, but I mean, they can still go another at least probably 5 laps, 4 or 5 laps. Maybe 3, 4 now that it's 9 to go.
I'm sure these guys are... I think I heard Rick on the radio. I think he heard about 3 or 4 laps until he has to pit. So I'm sure these guys are pretty much well in communication with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe probably about 2 laps from here, you'll probably see these guys off pit road here.
Well, looks like we've got the trifecta in the chat. Obviously, we've got Carl Lingle with the fused back, Gael with the shoulder issue, and then Patrick and Seth's brother with a broken collarbone. So hopefully that's it for the injuries here at Area 51. But hoping all 3 of you are on the mend and back to action soon.
Well, that goes for me too. So I've actually going to see the chiropractor about once every 4 days, and he's been working on my back. So I've lost feeling in my right leg, so they're working on it. Oh, looks like they're pitting. Here we go.
Coming down pit road. 54 is going to get in with the 32, the 5. Pretty well
organized.
Well
done by these guys. Well done by these guys here. Now, can they get off at the same time? That is the most important question.
Yeah. Tom Dixon's in. The second group is actually in as well. Ambrose Kniebel, Jim Brooks, Bud Steele. They came in the previous lap.
Peter, we're going to have a talk after this race here, buddy.
All right, so
you were turning my office.
The race
right
here,
now.
Yep. We're going to see.
Look at him. Very well done by the 554 and the 30. Came off pit road very well. Oh, look at the leaders just going by, too.
So the 55, the 25, and the 071 do regain the lead, but the gap is a lot smaller than it was last time after the last pit cycle. It's 2.5 seconds, and it's growing as the 554, 32 get up to speed, but they are pushing for all they have with 7 laps to go here. I don't think they're going to have enough to catch up, but it's definitely a valiant effort for this second group here as they are trying everything that they can to catch Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, and Eric Laurie as they catch some lap traffic here. And they're going to see what they do to try and split them. Looks like some are going to go high and some are going to go low. This is the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald in the 6th position. Tom Dixon in the 7th. Ambrose Kniebel in the 8th. Jim Brooks here in the 9th position. They're all going one lap down. So you'll see all the way up to 6th have now been lapped.
Yep. Now the question is, are these guys going to get away from them now since they have more cars with them now? Are they going to race them? That's a big question here. Are Team Bootnaka going to try and pass Dean Wilkinson?
Yeah.
Try to give Eric Laurie to win because he's in the playoffs and get ahead of Dean Wilkinson here.
Yeah, I know Team Bootnaka's MO is typically to just push the car that's ahead, but obviously right now that's not as advantageous for Kevin Freese as his teammate is in the playoffs and he would steal points from him. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I know I say that way too much, and I've been trying to find a different way to say the same thing without saying the same thing, but it'll be curious to see here what's going to happen between the two teammates. Are they going to try and get the 071 up there further? I don't expect them to do a lot to make a bunch of moves because that's not typically their MO either. They just kind of, stay pretty committed, but obviously it would help the 071 a little bit more if he can be ahead of the 25 and if not ahead of the 55, but still a good race for them so far tonight. The 08, Bob Fitzgerald's still in a great spot here in the 6th position. So is Tom Dixon, just outside of the top 5. And Ambrose Kniebel and Jim Brooks here in the top 10. Towards the middle of the playoff contenders, are they going to try and race behind our leaders here? Further on back, it looks like Rick Sanchez and
Boomer,
Patrick Groover are
it
catching.
has got the edge of the draft here. This is very well done by the 5 and the Groover brothers.
Wow.
This is going to be a race to the end.
They're going to have a lot of momentum, the 5 and the 54, as they catch this pack.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a photo finish.
3 laps to go.
Oh, man. Right now, I think they ran their fastest lap to the race.
49.01 for Rick Sanchez. Yep.
That is incredible. Here we go. This is... Well, man, I'm pretty excited now. We got a race.
We do got a good race shaping up here at the end. The pit cycle worked out. The 5 and the 54 pushed like absolute hell, and they are catching the lapped cars at the back of the lead pack here. And you see them making progress. They're going to try and get all the way back up to the front of this pack, but the 5, the 25, and the 071 are currently your podium. And the 5 and the 54 are going to do everything that they can to get back around on the high side. With some help from... They ran an even faster lap that last time by a 48.76.
Oh, they left their help.
194 miles an hour down the backstretch for Rick Sanchez. 193 for Dean Wilkinson. They've evened out down the backstretch. 194 entering 195 for Rick Sanchez. They're still on the high side, trying to make their momentum.
Oh, man. Wow.
They're up to the 6th car in the inside line, and the 08 and the 411 are going to jump to the high side.
This is going to be 3 wide here.
And the 5 and the 54 go to the 3rd lane. On the last lap, white flag is out. Do the 5 and the 54 have enough momentum? Are they going to be able to race around? It looks like they've got a ton of momentum off the top side.
Oh, man.
Dean Wilkinson still leads with a push from Kevin Freese. You see the 5 making progress down the back straightaway. 3 wide. The 5 and the 54 on the high side lose a little momentum into turn number 3 and 4. The 55 and the 25
They don't
staying
have it.
steady in the inside lane, coming around through the tri-oval. And it seems like the head of steam has started to run out. The 55, pushed by Kevin Freese, and the pit strategy and execution goes to them.
Wow.
I don't think 20 laps ago we would have guessed that Rick Sanchez would have been within 2.5 tenths of our winner. They had good momentum for Rick Sanchez, and Patrick Groover, unfortunately, had to run all the way up to the third lane, and that ended their momentum. And Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, Eric Laurie, with the execution on and off pit road, are going to be your podium placings for tonight.
Well, I will say one thing, and as a driver, I'm really surprised the lap cars jumped down for the out of line for the second lane there, and kind of forced those guys in hand to jump up to the third lane. That I don't know if I'm just a fan of that, but well done. I mean, as you well know, the Dean Wilkinson didn't get to the front for nothing. So that's a good win by Dean. It's been a while since Dean visited victory lane here.
Well, there he is back in victory lane. The TW Motorsports Ford Mustang coming home winner. Kevin Freese and Eric Laurie again with the great pit stop execution, coming home second and third in your podium placings. Rick Sanchez still a very good night, and obviously a valiant effort towards the middle section in the end to try and get back up there. Never quit, along with Patrick Groover. They never quit. They still come home in a top 5 position. And obviously we saw all the way up through 6th place get lapped. Bob Fitzgerald there with a very strong run for him, still in the playoff mix. He is going to be 6th, getting that first car 1 lap down. Ambrose Kniebel also having a good night, a little bit of a rebound after some connection issues caused all sorts of trouble last week. But a clean night for him, coming home in a solid 7th place for the points battle. Tom Dixon as well, well within the top 10. Jim Brooks in the playoff battle. He's going to come home in the 9th position. Bud Steele, we saw him get caught up with Seth Groover there as they kind of spun out coming into pit road for the first green flag pit cycle, and really was only the second incident that we saw pretty much all night long. So unfortunate for them, but they're going to come home 10th and 11th. Jeremy Osborne involved in the first yellow that we saw, never able to quite recover there for the 41 machine. Frank Ranger Jr. there, also of Blind Squirrel Racing there, is going to come home 13th. Jerry Bergeron in the 1 is going to be 14th. Nick Wing in the 28 for Roswell. He was going to be one of the guys that, actually the first retiree of the night. And then we saw Mike Rimkus involved in a couple incidents, and then Jack Walls also got bounced off a few cars and some walls, and unfortunately for him, not the night that he was hoping for, but not too much harm, as again, not competing in the championship. But still, obviously we mentioned anybody who's not in the championship there, still a big deal to try and close out your season with a hard-earned win. And obviously, Kevin Freese not eligible for the playoffs, but still a good showing for him, and helped his teammate Eric Laurie get a nice 3rd place finish, as well as working with Dean Wilkinson to get that win there. So we're going to be ready for them in just a minute here as we get prepared to bring some of these guys up and into the booth. We'll grab that top 3 and try to talk through some of the excitement that almost was, but kind of fizzled out towards the end there, and just kind of hear from their perspective what that strategy looked like. But I think that we have, well, we'll change some graphic views around here, and we'll actually bring up the right cars. But we have the 071 of Eric Laurie in the shot. And we'll bring him up as the 3rd place finisher tonight for the 071 of Team Bootnaka Esports. Eric, definitely looked like you guys were the class of the field as far as pit stop strategy, or if not, mostly just the coordination on the in lap and the out lap there. But we saw you come home a solid third. It was a fairly contested third by the end of it. But yeah, take us through your guys' execution and what got you that podium place tonight.
Well, got to thank Kevin for all that good pushing and Dean up front there. Yeah, congrats, Dean, on the win there. Just the pit stops, he either make you or break you, and we got lucky on a couple of them. I was slow in the third one, but we made up for it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely seemed like you guys were able to kind of be out front there. I mean, really from the first green flag pit cycle, I think you had, a 4 or 5 second gap that just kept continuing to grow as the guys behind you weren't able to be as organized as the three of you. So, I mean, it seemed like from there you guys kind of just set sail and just focused on, not making mistakes.
Yeah, we did have a good night. Good win for good one for the team.
Yeah, so obviously we saw, after the final pit cycle, you guys came in a little bit earlier than everyone else, and they ran a little long. And then when it came to it, it looked like they were starting to catch you guys in the pack that caught you, that you guys had passed of some of those lap cars. Were you expecting them to get as close as they did towards the end there, and the last couple laps there, were you worried that they were going to get all the way up to you?
I was worried they were going to get up to us, and they did, but they did a good job doing it.
Yeah, it seemed like the 54 and the 5 were pushing with everything that they had to try and get up there. So, yeah, well, congratulations to you guys. Obviously, for you, a very solid first night of the playoffs for this 2024 second season here on Thursday nights. Take us through, obviously, in a good position after tonight. What are you looking to try and do for these next three races to see if you can bring another championship home to the Team Bootnaka Esports stable?
Trying to look forward to having just clean races and fun, and just see if I can get a top 5 each time.
Well, I think that'll be a good plan for you, Eric. Congratulations for a solid finish tonight here, and hope to talk to you soon.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Oh, I'm sorry. I almost completely forgot. Don't let me let you leave without giving you an opportunity for any thanks or shoutouts. I'm so sorry about that. Before you go, yeah, what do you have any thanks or shoutouts for that third place finish there tonight, Eric?
Yeah, I want to thank Kevin tonight for all the help. Very, very informational and helping on a lot of things. So I learned a little bit tonight. Thanks for Dean for making his way on up there. And you guys, thank you guys very much, because it's great to go back and watch these again.
Yeah, well, it's definitely fun for us in the booth, and we appreciate that, Eric. And now we'll say congrats, and hope to talk to you again soon, buddy.
All right.
Alrighty, man. I swear, we've been doing this all season, but we get rusty even in the middle of the season sometimes. But I guess that's how it goes. But all right, we'll jump up one spot further. That is the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Corn Flakes machine of Kevin Freese, as we will bring him on into the broadcast booth here. And sorry if we interrupted you with the conversation you had down below, but
all good.
yeah, definitely, obviously not competing for the playoffs or the championship here, Kevin, but still got some skin in the game with your teammate Eric Laurie there, and
Yep.
it seemed like you guys had, I mean, realistically, from the drop of the green flag, the execution was there for you guys, and it seemed like that was what allowed you guys to kind of set sail and focus on not making mistakes for most of the race.
Yeah, we once we saw the gap that we built in that first stage, the pit stops were all about just not making a mistake. That last stop was just a little bit slow getting out of the pits, but overall, I mean, can't argue with it. It made for a very interesting last lap there, where I was like just hoping that it wouldn't blow up on me, because we're just pushing the temps to the absolute max, which is what I was trying not to do the whole race. And I know for that entire the run right before that, they were about 1/10 to 2/10 faster a lap as I was watching. And I'm like doing all the math in my head. I'm like, oh, we should be plenty fine. But I didn't count on that big pack of cars coming out right in the middle of all of us, which built a very nice bridge for them. And then having a slightly slow pit exit was just, a couple of factors just didn't work for us. But thank God the result finished what it was. Heck of an effort, though, by those guys, Patrick and Rick there. That was good to see. That's pretty impressive to close up that big of a gap.
Yeah, I think we documented the gap was over 10 seconds at one point.
Yep.
And I think in that one run they got it down to about 8, and then the next run obviously they got it down a lot more, and just kept coming. And then obviously you guys kind of came out ahead of some of those lap down cars. It seemed like once some of the guys in the middle kind of pushed to the middle lane, they got to the top, and that seemed like that kind of fizzled out their momentum. But from behind it, probably, or from ahead of them, it probably looked like they were coming and gonna get there for a second there.
Yeah, it was really close, and I'm looking at all their lap times right now. Yeah, we're pretty much even. It's like a 2/10 difference up until the pit stop, but our pit exit lap was our pit exit lap, that was 5 seconds. So that puts them right at the 5-second difference almost, I think it is. And that'll put them right at the tail end of that draft that came out. And they were flying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was crazy when we saw, I think we crossing the stripe at 2 to go, we realized that they were going to get there. So it was exciting to see nonetheless. But one thing I want to ask you about, it looked like you took a little bit of time to repair some damage actually during that first
race.
yellow. Yeah, so was that all from that small incident that you had with, I think, the 54 on the first yellow?
Yeah, whatever it was, I had cleared the wreck, and then I went to move up. I'm actually going back to look at it now. I think it was actually the 32.
Might have been the 32,
so
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, don't blame the innocent twin.
Fair enough.
I'm a twin, so I understand the pain. Yeah, so Seth just tagged me in the left rear, and it just got me a little bit, and then I tried to catch it, but obviously clipped the wall. And the car was pretty hurt from it, surprisingly. I couldn't go over 151 when we were trying to catch the field. And then it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I got it down to, I think, like 30 seconds of damage or something like that before I had to pull out of the pits. And then every single pit stop, I didn't take tires because I was just trying to repair off as much as I could, because that will impact the speed you get with the pack. So you just want to be able to go as fast as you can, and that's just hurting you. And then you want the tires, but you do want to repair the damage. It makes it fun.
Yeah, we saw some of that damage. I think the both the 32 and the 54 had a little damage from that incident. I know, like you said, I think it was the 32 that got into the back of you just a little bit there. But I mean, it looked innocent enough. But I was really surprised to see all three of you spending over a couple minutes on pit road. I think both Groover brothers spent, I think, a minute and a half in their box from that. So that was a little surprising. But nonetheless,
these cars are made of paper mache. Sometimes.
Yeah, I've heard that damage model update.
They pick random time. It's like weird. You'll get clobbered and you'll have nothing, and then all of a sudden you glance the wall. Like I didn't think it was that hard of an impact, and then all of a sudden it tells me 2 minutes 30 seconds. I'm like, whoa, that's out of nowhere. But yeah, it was still a fun race tonight.
Yeah, glad to see. Obviously, execution got you guys out front and gave you enough at the end there. But before we let you go, I want to give you that floor for any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to have for the second place finish tonight here, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you to all the drivers who came out for the first playoff race tonight. Wish them all luck in it. Hope that Eric comes out on top. And great run by him. Great stops by Dean. I mean, we did a great job there. So shout out to all the drivers too, keeping it clean and green.
Good deal, Kevin. Well, congratulations again, and hope to talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, you have a good night.
All Alrighty, that leaves one, and it will be TW Motorsports' own Dean Wilkinson, bringing him up here into the broadcast booth. Definitely, we talked to Kevin, obviously, and Eric. You guys definitely had a very good advantage after that first pit cycle and just kept continuing to grow that lead. And then that second pack started to gain little by little throughout the race, but you guys still had enough of an advantage at the end to bring that Cheerwine Ford Mustang home a winner, Dean. Take us through tonight's action from your viewpoint.
For the most part, uneventful race. I guess because of the small field, but I enjoyed it. It was that last stint. I was watching closely to see what was going on with Mr. Sanchez, and I won't lie, I was getting worried at the end. I thought, man, I'm going to lead all these laps, and then that guy's going to come up and just pass me at the end, and I'm so friggin' pissed. But it didn't happen, thankfully. But if he had done it, I mean, it would have been well deserved. They did a good job making up 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think at the worst it was 10 seconds, but it was surprising to see how far they came back up. But yeah, definitely working hard back there, pushing as much as they could.
Yeah, well, I mean, it made the end a little bit more exciting than I like finishing these races 3 wide, 5 deep. Not that I don't appreciate winning and getting pushed by Kevin and Eric. That was I thank those guys for doing that. They didn't have to do that. They could have easily gone around me and one of them taking the win, but yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you guys were pretty well coordinated from that point on, just to kind of push and maintain. And I mean, obviously, the execution on pit stops I mentioned was, I mean, pretty much the reason why you guys came home victorious there. But it seemed like you guys were pretty well organized throughout the entire night.
Yeah, we all had pretty good pit stops. Nothing went wrong there. Entry was good. I think I overshot the first pit a little bit, but I was able to recover from that, so come out ahead of Kevin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously you stayed a little pretty clean, pretty quiet as well throughout the night, but I mean, for the most part, execution, I probably mentioned it even in the interview here, execution seemed to be that, pretty much the reason why you guys were here up at the front. I assume that's something that you're going to try to continue to mimic as we get further and further into the playoffs here.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Just, I mean, that's the key to these races, these super speedway, is the pit stops. You get 3 or 4 cars, you're pretty good to stay with the pack. But if you mess up that pit stop, man, and you get half a second behind coming out, that's a half a lap, and that could be the end of your race.
Yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference. I mean, that's something that Matt always mentions on the broadcast, how important that is. But that execution and those pit stops, obviously we said it plenty here, but yeah, and I mean, obviously you're going to come out of tonight with a pretty decent points lead. Do you feel like you're in a pretty good position going into to these next 3 races to try and contend for this championship after tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do. And hopefully I'll have some luck.
Luck always helps as well. So I got to ask, do you think that you're one of the favorites heading into the rest of the playoffs with 3 races left?
Hell no. Nope. Right. Not saying that.
Okay.
Nope.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I didn't try to bait you into it, so maybe I did, but I apologize. But nonetheless, still a really great performance for you tonight, Dean. A very good start to the playoffs, and we'll pull that graphic up in a minute. But looks like you got about, I think, a 6-point advantage over second place Eric Laurie in the points heading into next week, and want to now roll that red carpet out for any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give for that win here tonight.
Thank the teammates I was running with, Tom and Bob, and I think Mike was in there for a little bit before he finished out. Thanks for, again, Kevin and Eric for looking up with me and get me across that finish line. And thank you guys, Green White Checker TV, because I always enjoy going back to watch that. Area 51. without this league. It's a great league, and thank you to the drivers, because again, without them, we have no race. So thank you, drivers.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, Dean, and we hope to talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Boomer.
Alrighty, that is our top 3 for tonight. So we teased it a little bit here. We're going to try and bring up that playoff graphic. Grabbed a quick screenshot from Sim Racer League for you here, and you can see Dean Wilkinson with that one win on the season, now 6 top 10s. That consistency that got him into the playoffs is now carrying him into the lead after the first round here. So he's going to have 1,040 points for being the winner here tonight. Eric Laurie is going to be 6 points behind. Rick Sanchez 7, and then decrement by 1. You can see, obviously, most of the field finishing within a position of each other, from Eric Laurie all the way back to Jim Brooks, only separated by one spot in between, and then obviously between Jim and Seth there was one car in between there, so it's really tight. I mean, realistically, you can see all the way back to 12th place that it's still quite a tight battle, and I mean, it's going to take a lot for these drivers to try and keep that consistency up and try to win this championship here, Matt.
Yeah, it's pretty early on, but if you find yourself in a hole, it's gonna be really hard to dig yourself out of it. Sorry, excuse me. But if we had a larger field, it'd be even more of a pain in the butt to get back up. So luckily, it's like a shorter field. But mistakes do happen, as we've seen time and time again. We see mistakes do happen, and drivers who run up front all day get crashed, and then suddenly you're back in it. You never know. I can't predict anything. You can't predict anything. Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen. And we saw another green flag race for the end tonight. Pretty much since that early caution that we saw, it was green flag pretty much to the end there. Obviously, the one incident between the 6 and the 32, and a couple other small things here and there, and a very exciting finish as the 5 and the 54. Obviously, not going to be able to talk to them tonight. Usually give those interviews to just the top 3, but a huge shout out to those guys and how hard they truly worked. Obviously, you can see replay here is a couple laps to go at this point, and you see all the momentum that they have in that outside lane and how much progress they were starting to make there. It was, I mean, it is definitely commendable for them to say that it was impressive, and really surprised that they made as much progress as they did. So it's definitely worth mentioning, for them to have the night that they did and still be in a good shape for the playoffs, and try to get a win. Who knows? Maybe if situations came a little bit different, if they could have stayed in that middle lane, they might have had a little more opportunity. But you never know. So it definitely died trying tonight, and still top 5 for both of them. So good on those guys for that comeback. But yeah, obviously we kind of talked, we talk a lot about the playoffs and what it's going to take, and consistency and execution really seems to be kind of the king of those conversations. But Matt, what are some of your keys looking forward to the end of the season here and these final 3 races to trying to crown a champion here at Area 51?
Excuse me. If you're up more toward the front, I'd probably look about track position. Keep yourself up toward the front. Put yourself in position, just like any other driver would do. Try to win a race, and if you're really, really going for a championship, you already got a win already in your back pocket. I would probably not risk anything that would probably impede my progress. And I say if something bad happens or an accident, I get caught up into it. I would probably, if I was running second or third and trying to go for the win, I'd probably take the second or the third and just take the most of maximize my point value if but I keep saying every week, Boomer. I'm gonna say it. Pit stops. You got to be on your A game. That will win you or lose you the race, and could cost you a lot of points.
Yeah.
Just try and stay safe out there. I just wonder what these guys would do. These guys got to be more careful coming on and off pit road. So other than that, that's all I got there, Boomer.
Yeah, we saw obviously the 55-25 Cincinnati 1 ran out to a humongous lead for 3 cars, especially at a playoff track, or sorry, at a plate track, and almost came down to not being enough of a lead with how much the 5 and the 54 pushed, but the 55-25 and the 071 were mostly on cruise control for most of this race. I mean, pretty much since about lap 26, 27, whenever our first green flag pit cycle kind of came through.
Yeah,
So,
around there. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a big difference. And, I mean, you also mentioned a little bit of luck. I mean, obviously Jeremy Osborne kind of got the short end of the stick there in that incident on the second lap or so, and a couple other cars involved that obviously Mike Rimkus finishing 16th wasn't able to recover from. Nick Wing didn't have the night that he wanted. Then we saw execution on pit road as Bud Steele and Seth Groover, who had the incident coming into I believe it was the second green flag pit stop, and got spun around a little bit. Bud lost a lap. Seth ended up losing 2 laps, a couple penalties here and there, and just didn't have the execution that was needed to be up at the front. But unfortunate for them, that's going to be tough for their playoff hopes. But it's obviously not over. Obviously, anything can happen to anyone on any given week, and we'll be here to cover it here on Green White Checker TV, no matter what. You can be assured of that. As we take a quick peek at our schedule, we should be heading into, I think, Atlanta in the Super Speedway Truck Series. They are a couple more races into the playoffs than we are, so looking forward to see them do battle there as they get into the third race of the playoffs here this weekend. And then the Tuesday series was pushed back a couple weeks, so they should actually be, I think, let me actually pull up the right schedules that I can speak to. So I believe they'll be at Texas this week. So Texas is coming week, and if not Kentucky, so they've got a couple more races left in the season as
IndyCar.
well. So.
Yeah, we ran Texas. We had to push it back a week because the broadcasting issue. So
yep, yeah. Oh, that's right. Thursday was 2 weeks because of the broadcast schedule. The broadcaster schedules, and then the week where we had iRacing just decided not to work. So 1 week behind for the 1 week behind for the Tuesday series. They'll be at Kentucky next week, and then Auto Club to wrap up their season. And again, third playoff race on Sunday night for the Truck Series, and then next week we will be back here same time rocking iRacing Super Speedway for 70 laps of high speed action at the 3 Mile Oval. And yeah, that'll do it for us for now. Great race, some excitement in the playoffs here, as you see cars coming across the finish line. And we are going to sign off for tonight and say, hope you all have a great week, and take care, and we'll catch you next time.